Hello, my name is Adrian Nestor. I'm chairman of the Save the Romaggi Adobe Association, and we've been in existence since 2001. And what I'd like to do today is tell you more about the Romaggi family that lived and raised their 6 children in the home that we're trying to restore. And if I could, I'd like to take you through a pictorial history of James Romaggi coming from Romaggi, Italy, which the village is named after his family. He was 21 years old at the time. He could not read or write, and he made his way to New York City, originally thinking he wanted to go to Brazil. But then when he heard about all the gold in California, he came around the Horn, working his way as an assistant cook to get to California. While he was in New York, he ran out of money, and so in order to foster more cash for his trip, he rented a monkey and a grinder and used streets in New York City to get enough money to come around the Horn. When he came to Angels Camp, somehow he went out to Albany Flats and he picked up $1,000 worth of gold nuggets in a relatively short period of time. Then he took that money over to Malonis, which was a city at that time, and he purchased a mine that people were trying to do something with but had not been profitable up to that point. After he took it over, he ended up with $30,000 or $40,000 in less than a month. In today's money, that's $77,000. So here was a 24-year-old man, stonemason by trade, in Angels Camp with $1 million. So what he decided to do was to build a home before he returned to Romaggi, Italy, to bring back his bride, who was Luisa Fopiano. So he started building the home, picking up the rock from the local fields, and made the home in Angels in Albany Flat. This is a map showing the village of Romaggi, where he came from in Genoa. Someday I hope to visit there and get more details about the family. This is a family member that still lives in the home that's over 200 years old, built exactly like the one he built in Albany Flat. Around the Horn with him, he brought a ironstone ravioli platter that we have located in Canada. This is a picture of he and Luisa. He went back to Italy and brought her over. Her name was Luisa Fopiano, and this shows them in front of the home and the store. He turned this into a store, a bar, a card room, and a stagecoach stop, and that was his business. And these pictures shows Luisa Fopiano Romaggi as she aged during her lifetime. And this shows her with her son Peter and a granddaughter, Eva Gazzola. It was very interesting. Of the 6 children, they only married into 3 families: the Gazzolas, the DiMartinis, and the Piranos. So here we see the Gazzola family, and this was Gio Gazzola and Jane Marie Gazzola, and the 2 sisters married 2 brothers, Gazzolas. And this shows a house where Gio Gazzola lived in Angels Camp, and you can still see it as you go past the bridge, and right at the top of that little rise, it's on the right-hand side with the concrete post. And this, of course, is some more of the family members. This is Carmen Caton, and she still lives in Twainhart, and she's been very helpful in putting all this information together that I'm showing you today. Then the DiMartinis, Columba Romaggi Martini. Picture shows Columba Romaggi and Paul DiMartini, the second family that the girls married into, and this picture shows their children. Once you get into this searching into family records, then anytime you see their name, you do a follow-up to see if you can find more descendants. This is a DiMartini that owns an RV business up in Grass Valley, and he is a cousin. This is a DiMartini in Modesto, who is a politician. I haven't tracked that down. And of course, this is Mrs. Johanna DiMartini in Angels Camp when she celebrated her 100th birthday. This is what the area looked like after he bought a 100-acre quartz claim in Albany Flat. And in my slide presentation, I take this and blow it up individually. There's actually a little girl in the window here. There is a boy riding a pony towards Sonora. There are 2 adults in the garden area, 2 adults on the other side of the fence, and of course some children up here out in the family tree. And all the ones with the red, green circles here indicate that I have met them, and we have located 16 descendants now that attended our fundraiser dinner in September 2006. And here are all the names of the families that are involved in the chain of the family tree, and each mark indicates somebody that I have had contact with. James took his family back to Italy, and in those days you had to get approval from the king. So here it says, in the name of his foreign affairs, gives them a passport for everybody to take care of their needs and assistance, and it was good for 1 year. At the same time, I have the transcript here from the New York passenger list of 1877, showing that James Romaggi, and Louisa was 36 at the time, Maria was 15, Angela 10, Colombo 8, and Carmen 1. And this is the baptism of Andrew, their second son, in 1888. And here are some death notices of the other family members as they very smart. Well, Miller told Tarbert that at least he could read, and at that point Tarbert slapped him, and he wasn't aware of the fact that Miller had a knife in his pocket. So Miller pulled out the knife, stabbed him in the ribs, didn't do much damage. Tarbert pulled out the pistol, shot Miller. They put him in the wheelbarrow that he was pushing, brought him into Angels Camp, and the constable declared him dead. And then they did have an inquest, and I have copies of it here, and 2 of the men that were witnesses had to use their mark because they couldn't read or write. Romeo Romaggi, who was living up in Bremerton, Washington at the time, took that down to the IRS, and they decided because it didn't have e pluribus unum on the coin, it didn't have to be turned in. I have located that in Vallejo, California, and we hope to put that in the museum when we open it up. Now at that time, in 1882 to 1888, Albany Flat had 2 that kind of business acumen to. This is the other family, the Piranos, and this is Carmelo Romaggi and Augustine Pirano at their marriage. And I've located Nick in McMinnville, Oregon, and he has Nick's Italian Cafe, and he still serves Romaggi minestrone soup and Romaggi ravioli. And over here, just to give you an idea how involved it is once you get into searching these family records, these are just a couple of sheets from my work day when I tried to find out about a Mr. Romaggi with jobs. And she made these baskets for her, and they were given to the daughter of Louisa Romaggi, and she gave them to Carmen Caton, and she has them in Twain Harte today. If you stop by the building, you will see in the front side here some roots from this old rose bush still growing out of the front. And those rose bushes were imported from Italy specifically for that home. And of course, the home has always been a draw for artists. There are many, many paintings in the Orme, Lehman, and Kishami, and I would like to include those information, particularly if you have pictures. And this display will be on hand at the Italian Heritage Days. I believe it's on May the 3rd down at the museum, so you can stop by and maybe give me some pointers or give me some additional information. This is an architectural rendering of what we hope the Romaggi Adobe Gold Country Museum will look like when it's finished. We have a parking area here toward the Sonora area, stable, do something other than actually paying for gold. The other thing we'd like to have in the museum is a computer program where we can have small children sit down and put in their great-grandparents' name, and then maybe we will give with the parents as they leave a form to fill out and mail back to us that will tell us whether they ask continuing questions on the way home or in the next 2 weeks. And if the answers come back yes, then apology before it's too late. In my case, my mother and father are gone, and my aunts and uncles. I have one aunt left on either side. And I know it's going to sound silly, but I have no idea how my parents met. I should have talked to them because I lived at home until I went to college, but we just don't think of those things until it gets too late. Thank you very much for your attention.